Melani and this is my partner, Dini, and we are presenting our paper that we did research on developing culinary tourism to support local development and preserving food heritage here in Indonesia. This is our agenda that we have today for discussion. We're going to do a brief introduction of our paper, and also we're going to talk about the potential that Indonesia has in developing culinary tourism. We're going to talk about the challenges, the tourism practices that can be done and developed. Same thing with the recommended practices, and some of those recommended practices that we put an emphasis is on marketing. And then, of course, we're going to conclude of our research. Dini is going to go ahead and talk about the introduction of our project.
Thank you, Melani. So basically, let me ask you guys something. Does any of you know what is the iconic dish of Indonesia? Everyone here is Indonesian, right? Yeah. What is it? Padang?
Rendang.
Soto. Okay. Sate. So I heard that there is no single food that you guys mentioned together. Like it diverse, right? And it's really hard to highlight what is actually the ultimate dish of Indonesia. And because the Ministry of Indonesia, they just come up with the 30 iconic dish of Indonesia. 30, and that's really hard to remember for the foreigner or for the domestic. So culinary experiences are intertwined with the experience of the visitor in the destination. So we see this as not only you eat food and then you feel it delicious and that's it. No, we want to create like this as experiences, the making of the places through the culinary destination. And the fact is that the Indonesian tourism scene is booming. We found a really interesting article just yesterday that saying in the first half of 2016, the tourism visitor from foreigner rise into 5.9%, which means 5.29 million foreign tourist arrival in Indonesia. But the fact is that the neighbors country like Singapore, Thailand, and even Malaysia, they are winning in utilizing food as a bite of the tourism growth. So as you mentioned, like if you say Thailand, like people will say pad thai, or like or Singapore is one of the best gastronomic in Asia. They're really good in branding their stuff. And so can Indonesia compete in this market that is already big? And then does Indonesia has the potential to attract visitors through the culinary practices? Because right now maybe we already attract people with the island and then with the places to visit in the destination. But does culinary experience have a chance to be a full tourism destination in Indonesia? That's the thing that we want to bring here. And our research showed that it has a really big potential with the diversity of the island, the culture, the geographical areas, and the authenticity. And we also ranked number 17 out of the 184 countries in the world in terms of the contribution to our GDP. And the Ministry of Tourism actually this year in 2016, they started to create a unit that dedicated specifically in the culinary tourism promotion. So this is a good news for all of us because even though we are really far behind the other countries that already put the focus on culinary since a long time ago. And the SCIF travel research is also highlighting about the rise of culinary tourism around the world. And this is a good chance for us to create culinary tourism as a pull tourism. What is pull tourism? It's a tourism that can attract people to come to a place. So not a push tourism, which you come to a place because of the destination benefit. Melani will take a look at that.
Thank you. So Dini comes with the positive that yes, Indonesia has a potential, and I am the bearer of bad news, I'm sorry. But there are some challenges that Indonesia has in implementing culinary tourism. These challenges are a very stiff competition. In Asia Pacific, we have countries that have developed in their marketing of their country to expand the culinary tourism to attract their people. These countries are Australia, we also have Hong Kong, Korea, Macau, Singapore. Like Dini said, Singapore markets themselves as the gastronomy, the best place in gastronomy in Asia. That's what they say, okay? Taiwan and also Thailand. In Thailand, there's something very specific. We both live in the US right now, and in Thailand, the Thai restaurants at least in Boston, and all over the US, they have a sticker in the front, and the Thai government says, hey, this restaurant represents our culture. So me being a Bostonian, never been to Thailand, I have an idea of what Thai food is, and guess who wants to go to Thailand and eat real pad thai? Me. But there's no Indonesian restaurant in in Boston at all, okay? So that's a market for you guys if you want to make some business there. That is an advantage, I'm just letting you know, okay? And also, Indonesia has the resources in their hands to develop a culinary tourism. I've been here for 5 days, and I've been eating a lot, okay? I'm loving each food. Okay, there's also another challenge is there's a few existing culinary tourism efforts here in Indonesia. At the local market, these brands right here are some companies that are developing tours in Indonesia, but all of them are in Jakarta. We know that Indonesia is way bigger than just Jakarta. Some of them, their marketing is in Bahasa Indonesian, and some of them only market in Instagram. No website to buy a ticket, so I have no opportunity as a tourist to buy a ticket for them. And to support the local. For the foreign, we have companies that are in the Netherlands, the UK, and the USA that they are selling food tourism to their clients and bringing them to Indonesia. The big problem is that's a lot of leakage. They're making money. Their offices and headquarters are in their countries. So they're paying taxes to their governments, not the Indonesian government. And the jobs that they create are the lower wage jobs, maybe the cooks and the cleaners, not the managers, okay? Also, there's a lack of domestic knowledge of food diversity, but it's a good thing. In the rural population, there's a lack of steady source of income, but because there's a lack of source of income, there's a high consumption of local products, which is a good thing. People that come to those regions, they can see how they eat and how they cook and how they prepare their meals. On the urban population, there's a quick economic growth here in different parts of Indonesia, and that urban population is more open to try international cuisine. We're going to talk now about culinary tourism and if we can develop it as a practice to develop.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, this is me, I'm sorry. Back to me. This is an important network that we that study tourism, we talk about this a lot, but I'm going to focus it on culinary tourism, okay? How this network is important that the government starts to support the local business. And when I talk about culinary tourism network and we talk about local businesses, I'm talking about the producers of food. The government needs to create a system to support the rice growers, the coffee growers, those products that are from Indonesia. When those local businesses grow, they need people, they need staff. So that means that the local population benefits, not only from jobs, also from tax revenue. If the local businesses are paying taxes to the government, that means that the government is going to put money in the infrastructure, schools, roads, lights, okay? What happens if it's a beautiful town and it gets supported by the government? Visitors eventually are gonna visit. And if the visitors come, cha-ching. Okay? This is what you want to make money. And then that money goes to the government back again and starts again the cycle. Dini is going to talk about a SWOT analysis that we created for our project.
Alright, so we do the research about how culinary tourism actually have a potential but also a weakness. So I start with the strength that we have here. So right now, it's a global palate leaning towards Asian food. What does that mean? Is that people all around the world actually started to look more for Asian food. Like when you talk about people in the US or in Europe, like they look more into the Asian food. And this is actually a chance for us, for Indonesia, to stand out between all the competition that already exists in the market. And also, we have a diverse regions, like I mentioned before. And every region actually can market their destination together between you market it as an individual culinary tourism, or like you package it, you bundle it with like the destination of like island and everything, and you have a culinary experience there. So this is actually a strength that Indonesia has to support the local people in each destination through the culinary experiences. But the weakness is that we do have a lack of tourism culture of the culinary tourism. Like Melani mentioned, all the companies that operate the culinary tour, it's all in Jakarta, and maybe some of them didn't work anymore. So there is not really. So eating is something that there is a big opportunity there that you can package it and you can market it as a tourism experience, but we don't really see it here in Indonesia. So that's what we want to see here. And then the second weakness is that there is a lack of global knowledge about Indonesian food. Not only international, but even domestic people. Like when you go to Sumatra or Sulawesi, and if you're coming from Java, you maybe don't know like what kind of food that they eat there. So this is a weakness that we have here. But there is an opportunity, like Melani mentioned before, the urban potential, the people, the young people in Jakarta or in Bandung or whatever, when they travel to places, like right now the trend is that they want to go to rural places and test something different, authenticity and things like that. So we can bring the culinary experience inside those things. And also the rural potential is that we see a lot of people in a local destination, they can sell themselves. You can invite them to their home and then experience the food with them and the experience. And the trade that we have here is the steady competition that already exists and the leakage of the income that Melani already mentioned earlier. So the recommendation that we have.
Thank you. So of course, after doing this research and reading about what's going on in the world and in Indonesia, we come with recommendations. The recommendations we took it from, his name is Richard Grant. He created this thing called the resource-based theory to create competitive advantage. So we took that and transported it into culinary tourism. Designing culinary tourism in Indonesia, the first thing you need to know to do is identify firm resources and capabilities. Can Indonesian food stand around the world? Yes, it can. So we have that to cross that. The second one, appraise income generating potential. That means how are you going to make money with this resource? We can create food festivals in Indonesia and also culinary-based tourism or tour operators as well. Also select a strategy. The strategy that we're recommending is marketing, which Dini is going to talk about it soon enough. And then augment and upgrade the destination's resource base. What we're trying to say with this is that we need to make culinary tourism and the importance of developing something that is taught all throughout different levels here in Indonesia. Marketing, branding, government, the systems in the government, the networks, and of course gastronomy, hospitality, and so forth. Dini's going to talk about the marketing strategy.
Marketing strategy that we think is that there are two different approaches. The first one is to approach the domestic market, and the second one is the foreign market. For the domestic one, the first thing we want to put is the awareness of the food culture itself. And we want to spread it to all over Indonesia. And the second one is develop a specific promotion framework in each destination. Because it has a different taste, different feeling, different culture, so we have to market it differently. And the festivals bundled with other attraction, which we see, festival is already there in Indonesia, but why don't like you put more emphasis on the culinary experience itself. And for the foreign market, government should really partner with Indonesian independent organization abroad. Like we have one in Netherlands, and they partner with the chef there, and they become the culinary ambassador of Indonesia. So then like people can ask them to do a festival and cook something, or like promote it, Indonesian food in Netherlands. And then partner with Indonesian restaurants around the world, even though it's not a lot as like Thai restaurant, but we should really start something to support them, the businesses around the world to give like certification and then the acknowledgement for the Indonesian government for the restaurant around the world. And also increase the participation in culinary conventions, so then the government need to explore more about like food expo, like exhibition around the world, so that people get more awareness on Indonesian food. And so the last thing is that we see that the culinary tourism is a pull destination. We want to create this as a not push destination, but pull destination. So then you can make people can make a lot more money with it because people are actually willing to pay more if it is a pull destination. And we can develop the local development economies and also preserving the food heritage. And in conclusion, so that we see that Indonesia has it. So we do have a really big potential in it, and then we can provide this as an injection to the rural economy and preserve the local food heritage as well. Because we see that like now, young urban people, they love to consume more international food, for example, but let's look more into what is actually our local food and be proud of it and market it as an experience. And then move economy in more innovative industry, and then the potential to satisfy different markets. We can put culinary tourism actually in the mass tourism, but also you can put it independently as a purposeful cultural tourist that people really look for the culinary experiences. And the last but not least, that it doesn't stop here. because we see that when we do this research, we find a little bit of people doing this in Indonesia, and we want to actually do more further research about it, especially in more east part of Indonesia, which is the cuisines and everything is really amazing, and we think that the further research about it is really needed in the future. So I think that's all for us. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much for very interesting presentation. I thought a topic about food tourism or culinary should attract people to pay attention to this. Okay, second presenter will deliver a paper titled about optimizations of the developed regions through the development of food tourism with the principle of peternak culture by Arte-Polis.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melani, and we will talk about the optimization of the developed region through the development of the tourism with the principle of urban acupuncture. Nowadays, we are, as an urban designer, urban planner, or maybe as an architect, we find a new challenge in every corner of the street, or maybe in the scale of the city, and even in the scale of the country. So all these challenges will have different kind different things, different needs, different contexts, and also different people. Although it seems different, but for some occasion, sometimes it has the same solution. For instance, let's say that nowadays, cities in the world are using internet as their basic needs. And some people will find the really new place just from the internet. It could be from Instagram, pad, or maybe video in Snapchat. Or maybe came from hashtag where to eat. So the internet itself will help the people to search for the new place all around the world. Then, once on the internet, I found a video that I thought, how do we eat our landscape by Pan Warehouse. You can Google it later. But anyway, she tells about the issue in her hometown in northern England. Then one of the influential statement of her video is, our universal language of human is food. Maybe we have read about the universal language is music. Some people say that, but and her words have a different things. It is very logic that our universal language is food, because in every step of our life we need something to eat. It is a food. And then go back to the internet thing. We are, as an urban designer, urban planner, or architect, we already think about what the correlation between people coming to completely a new place and food as our universal language. Well, it's kind of some happening tourism right now, and it is happening in every city, every big city in the world. It's happening everywhere. Maybe this is the very simple definition of food tourism itself. So the food tourism. The tourism itself is a very complex thing to discuss here, and of course it's not our domain to explain about the tourism itself. But for sure, it is a very dynamic and associated with several things: demand, trends, needs, and of course money. So the people that traveling, then they have a good experience in eating food. They will eating food in a street hawker or maybe in a unique and famous restaurant, maybe some kind of that. We need to post their activity, their experience on their social media and internet. And this tendency has become globally. It's become a common activity. For example, if we type on the Google search engine or maybe in Instagram with hashtag where to eat, we will find thousands of links that guide us to find the best place that we want to eat. Okay, so back to the topic. The food tourism is beneficially improving local economy. As the recent finding by Bond et al. In 2002, he said that 40% of tourist budget spent for food. And of course,